Hello and welcome to another episode of the Rocker Dog Podcast, the only show that talks to musicians about their dogs and what these canine companions bring to the party. I'm your host, Tim Dill. My inspiration for the show is my dog, Charlie, and together we are happy to bring you our conversation with singer-songwriter Asia Chow, an emerging artist on the LA indie folk scene whose third single, The Sleeping Dog, was released this summer with a must-see accompanying video. And this is her Pet Finder, swipe right worthy Rocker Dog.
Her name is Abba. She's a queen. She's right here. She is my diva, my icon. She's the sweetest because I think she's really physically cute, but I think what seals the deal is her personality. Like
Okay.
people like see her and they're like, "Oh my gosh, your dog's so cute. Can I pet her?" But then when they interact with her, they're like, "Oh my God, she's so cute. Like she's so loving and sweet and just a little cuddle bug."
Well, I love to hear about that.
Yeah.
Now, tell me about her background. I understand you know a little bit about her life as a stray. What do
Yes.
you know?
So I got her, I when I rescued her, she was already like full grown. So I'm not exactly sure how old she was, but probably about 1 years old, like based on like when the vet looked at her teeth.
Uh-huh.
But she had been a stray in the Bahamas and she survived Hurricane Dorian, which
Whoa.
don't know how she did that. She had puppies. They know she had puppies. And the rescue found her at a gas station and just took her, like flew her to Florida, drove her to LA, and I met her the day after she arrived in LA.
Oh my gosh. I had no
Yeah.
idea. It's funny when I read that,
Yeah.
unfortunately, when you're doing research on dogs, it goes to social media. So I know you
Sure.
posted it on social media, but I just imagined
Yeah.
it was a gas station outside of LA, but the Bahamas and then to Florida and then
Oh,
driving across
yeah.
country. That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
amazing how they find us.
I know. I feel like I kind of manifested her because I've always been a dog lover, like obsessed with dogs. I need to acknowledge every dog I see. But, I wanted to be a responsible owner. And when you're in your like early 20s and like traveling, working, all this stuff, it's like I wasn't sure if I could give a dog the life that I wanted to give
Yeah.
them. But then what happened was my roommate at the time got a dog, a puppy, a Cavapoo. Shout out to Yoshi, so cute, like crazy cute. And then my other best friend, I went to go pick up her puppy with her the day she went to go. We drove like an hour or something, went to pick up the puppy. And she was like, "Oh, like when I'm driving, would you mind holding the puppy?" And I was like, "Okay, like I'll take on this burden." And I just sat there like with the puppy in my lap and I was like, this needs to happen for me. Like my mental health requires like whatever I need to do, like this needs to happen for me. So I looked for like a dog for a while, and at the time I think it was quite like competitive at rescues to like
Right.
for them to accept you and stuff. And they preferred people who were like families and stuff like that. So I got like rejected and heartbroken a few times. And I knew that I had like some qualities I really wanted in a dog. So it was like I wanted a black, medium to large dog. And the key component was that they had to want to cuddle.
Right.
And so I was on Pet Finder, like the Tinder of for
Yeah.
dogs.
That
Basically.
Tinder for dogs.
Yeah. So I was like looking and I saw that her picture and I was like, okay, well, like the looks are giving. And then I read the like little bio and it said Abba, like her favorite thing to do is like cuddle, something like that. And I was like, oh my gosh, I must meet this dog. And I messaged like on Pet Finder. She was like, yeah, like you can come to my house to meet her. I met her. And I have to say that that was like the first dog. I'd met a lot of dogs like that because I was just trying to find one. But that was the first dog where like when I left, I was like the next day, oh, I wonder how Appa's doing. Like I wonder how it was like having a crush or something, you
Yeah.
know? And I was like, okay, like I have to apply for her. and I applied for her. At the time, they had like a trial, like the week and a half trial you can do with a dog.
Uh-huh.
And I had two roommates at the time, and they were a bit hesitant about adding another dog to the house. I was completely delulu. I was like, I'll try it out and like see what happens. You know what I mean? But I remember distinctly, I drove a Fiat Abarth at the time, and it had like the seat goes down. So I put her in the back, and then almost immediately she climbed to the passenger seat, did like a little donut, and then
Right.
just looked at me with those eyes. And I was like, it's over for me. Like I was still deluded at that point, like in denial about how much I loved her. But like in hindsight, that moment, it was over.
I love
Like
it.
just her eyes like looking
Yeah.
up. And yeah, it's been love ever since.
That's great. Now, what does the name mean
Yeah.
anything? I've never heard that name given to a dog.
Yeah. So the rescue named her Abba because she's from the Abaco Islands.
Okay.
Yeah. But
Makes
then
sense.
the rescue was like, we like the rounded Abba instead of Abaco. So Abba became Abba.
Yeah. That's cute.
Yeah. Yeah.
And your history with dogs, did you grow up with dogs? Did your
I
family have dogs, or
did.
you just always loved them but were always out of reach?
I grew up with a dog that my parents got her as a puppy. So basically, we grew up together. Her name was Snowball.
Okay, so that kind of set
Yeah,
your path for your
totally.
I will say dog obsession because you did mention that you have to pet every dog you come or acknowledge every dog you come across. But then literature that I was provided, you described
Yeah.
it as my toxic personality trait.
Yeah.
And I
So
had to
sometimes,
ask, but
yeah.
that begs the question, who in your circle is that toxic to? Who's rolling their eyes at you?
Well, you know what? You're actually making a very good point because hindsight, I think that was a red flag because one of my exes was like, you don't have to like say hi to every dog. And I think now that I'm older and wiser, maybe like a condition or like a trait they should have is like understanding that I do need to say hi to every dog,
Yes,
actually. You
yes,
know?
yes. That's in your Tinder profile.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
went on to say that it's almost concerning how much you love dogs.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask, what is it do you feel that, connects you with dogs?
I don't know. It's like a visceral, I mean, I think that thing of like, that catchphrase going around, like your dog is in your life for part of your life, if you're
Hmm.
lucky, if you get to grow old, but you are everything to your
Yeah,
dog in your dog's life. You're all of their life.
yes,
And I don't know. I just always loved dogs. First of all, so cute. And I think like we as humans are kind of evolved to find cute things. We kind of want to take care of them. And then it's just the love they give you and the love that you can give them.
yeah,
They also like have the ability to just be so present. They don't have Abba does not have an existential crisis. Do you know what I mean? Like
yeah,
her thing is like if I'm eating, I'm sleeping, cuddling, I'm good. And
yeah,
there's like kind of their ability to be, or animals in general, but their ability to just be present and they really just focus on essentials, right? Survival and cuddling for like mental health, I
yeah,
guess.
yes,
Um, and I think like as someone, like I'm a pretty anxious person. And I think having Abba she's given me the example of like, how do I just live in the moment?
right, right. Now, playing devil's advocate, because I agree
Yeah,
with you. I agree with
yeah,
everything. And I'll bring up two things. I was going to do this to another guest, but it kind of fell to the wayside. But
yeah.
playing devil's advocate,
Mhm.
is that you projecting onto the dog? Because how do we know the dog's
Yeah.
not like that? I was not sitting there thinking, I hope I'm going for a walk once this video is done. Or
Oh, right,
she's looking ahead to the next
right.
activity or the next meal.
Like Abba is reading Kant and Marx, like when I'm not looking, like thinking of philosophy. Um, she could be. It could be me projecting, but I kind of feel like even if I was projecting,
It's good for you.
yeah, she
And it
brings
makes the
that to
relationship
me.
good for you.
Yeah. And I think like sometimes just having that emotion is real enough,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
Because I was also going to bring up unconditional love.
Yeah.
which especially on the show, I hear this a lot, and I believe it as well. But
Yeah.
again, is it unconditional, or do I need to house it, feed it, sneak the chicken under the table every once in a while, pick up its poop?
Hmm. I think, yes, I think you do need to do all those things.
But more for ourselves as well. Like to
Yeah.
keep a tidy house, to keep a peaceful house, to keep,
Yeah. Yeah, I guess no love is completely unconditional, right? With any being, I think you have to, like, a dog knows if you love them or not, right?
yes,
But I think what I find amazing about dogs, like Abba went through a lot of trauma before I found her, and yet
yes,
she's able to love and to have gotten past that so quickly. And I find that aspect of dogs like kind of amazing, you know?
yeah, yes. They're
Um,
incredibly resilient and incredibly forgiving.
yeah. I mean, when I first got her, her hair was brittle. Like her hips, she was so skinny. Her hips were sticking out, her ribs were sticking out. I would take her on walks and people would like kind of give me dirty looks or say things to me because they thought I was like abusing her or something. And then we have to like start like a conversation and like be like, I just got her 2 weeks ago from a rescue, so like they like judge me less,
Yeah.
and just her ability to go from that to like I even have, my old roommates when they met her and then saw her like a few months later, they were like, "Oh my gosh, she got like a facelift or something." Like it's like a new dog, She's so happy and healthy. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think their ability to do that is kind of amazing. Forgive, yeah.
Yeah, that's the best part of social media is these before and after pics of
Yeah.
rescues,
Yeah.
which we'll get into a little bit later because there's another quote I picked out of your social media. But first, I want to go to I'm always asking if the dog inspires your art, and I know the answer that the dog
Yeah.
inspires your art because you've got a single out called "The Sleeping Dog,"
Yeah.
and I was curious to how that came about. Was that strictly just a kind of a moment of observation?
Yeah, well, I had the melody in my head. I remember having the melody in my head that day. It was like a more kind of uplifting or like happier, it felt to me. And then I looked over at Abba and she was sleeping so peacefully. Yeah, she basically was my muse and inspired me to write the song, which I think is fitting because like a happy love song would be about Abba for me, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah,
Um, yeah, so she inspired me and I just kind of wrote what I was feeling in that moment, which was
yeah.
like happiness. And I think oftentimes as humans, myself included, of course, like we're always looking for like more or like the next thing to make us happy.
Hmm.
Um, and I think in that moment, I just kind of felt like, you know what? I am a very like privileged and fortunate person. Like I've, had a lot of like privileges and like good luck in my life. Abba is one of those things, and I'm happy right now. Like, why not focus on that, on being happy in the moment instead of like then worrying about the next thing, you know?
Yes, yes. Well, you go on to say, I hope this song resonates with anyone who has been fortunate enough to know the love of man's best friend.
Yeah.
I can see that it's resonating just by simply going to your YouTube page and
Yeah.
seeing that, by the time this podcast is out, it'll be probably a month or two removed, but it's only been
Yeah.
out less than 2 weeks. You've got 72,000 views of the video.
Yeah.
And your reel online on social media has got 61,000 views. So it's kind of been a smash hit for you.
Yeah, yeah. I think, like, for example, on my TikTok feed, it's just dog talk mostly. You know what I mean? Like, what do people slash the internet love? Dogs, like animals, cats, like myself included, obviously. Like, so I was like, when I wrote the song, recorded it, all that stuff, I was like, what is a music video that would make me happy? Like that I would want to see. And it's just like a bunch of dogs for like 3 minutes. You know what I
Yes,
mean?
yes.
Um, yeah.
Now, who's the other dog I see on your social media? It looks like a Pomeranian of some sort.
That is Jojo Chow. She is my sister. She is my mom's dog. Yeah,
And
that's
she
Jojo.
passed away in 2017.
No, that was, oh, RIP. That was Baby Chow.
Okay.
She passed away like quite young, and then my mom got Jojo, um, who is doing great, living
Okay,
her
good
best
to
life.
hear. Good to
Yeah,
hear.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
with baby JoJo, you said your post, that led me to believe that they had crossed the Rainbow Bridge. Thanks for
yeah.
teaching me what man's best friend means.
Yeah, Baby Chow was very special. My mom got her, she was like, a small Pomeranian, and she was also a cuddle bug. She was so sweet. It's funny because my roommate at the time was not that obsessed with dogs. And I would sometimes like babysit Baby Chow when my mom would go out of town or something. And my roommate was like, I love dogs now. Like she was like that kind of dog, like very sweet personality, just so cute. And yeah, so
Yeah. And then finally, before I get to what I call the zoomies, you had
yeah,
a quote saying, being inundated with dog content is a blessing.
truly.
And it goes back to your first Instagram post, which, do you know what your first Instagram post is?
I think it was Baby Chow under
It
the sofa,
was
right?
September
Yeah,
16th,
yeah,
2014.
yeah. She used to do that. She used to go under the sofa, and it was so cute because she just like look with her eyes.
All right, let's go to the zoomies. Like I said, those are the last five quick questions. The first
Okay.
one is, do you kiss Abba on the mouth?
Okay, so this might not be like PC. I don't want the other dog lovers to like judge me. I love my dog, like please. I kiss her like on the face and around the mouth. However, I must say I'm not the biggest fan of when she tries to like lick me near my mouth.
Yep,
Like
yep.
I'm also a bit of a germaphobe. I love her. I love her, but I'm just a bit of a germaphobe as well. So I'll say like me kissing her, okay, her kissing me on the mouth, a little less enthused.
Okay, I'll accept
Yeah,
that. I'll accept that. No judgment. No, this is judgment-free
thanks.
podcast.
Thank you.
Question two, does Abba have a theme song? What would her red carpet music
Ooh,
be?
does ABBA have a theme song? I mean, it's probably kind of narcissistic for me to be like, well, I wrote The Sleeping Dog about her. You know what I mean?
Is there something that really captures her spirit and personality?
Isn't she lovely?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's very good. Good thinking. Good on the spot. Good on the
Mhm.
spot thinking. Question three, I say if your dog toured. I'm assuming Abba doesn't make too many shows.
No.
Okay, so if Abba toured with you, what would she want on the tour rider?
Ooh. I think she would want like a very like fluffy bed. And then I think like a blanket or like jammies or something because she gets cold very easily.
Oh,
And she loves pajamas or like, dog clothes because she loves staying warm. I think that would be on
okay.
her. Yeah.
Very cute. Very cute. That leads me to add, I know you mentioned TikTok. I'm not on TikTok given my age,
Yeah.
but Instagram, you got to fill your Instagram with more Abba content. Like if she's in
True, I
pajamas,
gotta
I want to see it.
I gotta give the people what they want. It's true.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Question four is, do you have a dog voice?
Absolutely.
Do you give her a dog voice as if animating her, what she would
Yes.
sound like? What would
Yes.
she sound like?
For example, when people say, good night, Abba, or like, hi, Abba, I'll just kind of be like, hello. Like, like, I don't think my impression is like the best, I must say, but I'm just trying to give the vibe, give the essence,
Yeah.
you
But
know.
what are you thinking in your head? Is there a certain personality or like movie character that you would imagine her sounding
It's not
like?
like a specific movie character. It's more like I am trying to give the vibe of like friendliness
Hmm.
and lovingness.
Yeah.
But I haven't, maybe that's something for me to work on to fine tune my act. Yeah.
Again, no judgments, no judgments
Yeah.
here. All right, last but not least, I always ask if there's a dog organization or a service that you'd like to give a shout out to.
Ooh, I'll give a shout out to Hit Living because that's where I got her.
Okay.
So grateful to them.
All
Yeah.
right. Good to know. Good to hear. And it's funny that
Yeah.
you brought up, that they had this. I know that rescues are very, I just had this conversation yesterday because I volunteer just walking dogs at the shelter. And our shelter,
Mhm.
if you want the dog, you've got the dog. There's no questions
Yeah.
asked. They're just trying to free
Yeah.
space because they need the kennels, because of
Right.
the demand. But the
Right.
rescues do a very good job because they don't want the returns. So they do a
Right.
very good job of screening people and making sure it's a good fit. So it's
Totally.
always good to be reminded that that's how they operate.
Yeah, when I got ABBA and I was going through this questioning phase that wasn't really questioning, but I was just deluded. I remember texting with the person who runs the organized Hit Living, and she said, ABBA is very special, and I feel that you are meant to be her mom.
Oh, that's nice.
And
That's
she was
very
right.
sweet. That's
Yeah.
great. And I have to commend you on the black dog because do you know that black dogs,
Yes.
they're
Yes, they don't
less
get adopted as
popular?
much.
Yes, yes.
Boo.
Like I don't understand that because my dad had a couple of black labs as we were growing up. And I just
They're
never
very
considered it. Never considered that would be an issue.
I know, it's a thing.
But
Not into
maybe it's this day and age where it's very visual and they just don't photograph well because contrast and whatever it may be, detail.
well, those people need to step up their lighting game. Don't know what to tell them. Like, step it up.
True, true. Well, Asia, thank you so much for giving me your time. It was a pleasure learning about ABBA. And like I said, when I'm looking at social media, there's only so much information I get, so it's a real pleasure
Yeah.
to hear it in detail.
No, thank you so much for having me. It's like, it's always so nice when you talk to someone who matches your energy in terms of loving dogs. So this
Yes,
was really nice for me. So thank you for having me on.
my pleasure, my pleasure.